Ryan,
Dalton,
fucking Ben Affleck is coming back as Batman, dude.
I'm so excited, dude.
Dude, like, okay, obviously, people watching, we're not in the normal studio. Well, I am, but we literally Zoomed each other because as soon as this news dropped, because like we recorded a podcast yesterday that comes out tomorrow, but when this news broke, we were like, no, we're not fucking waiting a whole entire week to talk about this shit. We got to talk about it right now. So this will be a late night video. Sorry about that, everybody.
But this is too big to keep pushing off. This is something that needed to be addressed right now. Because if we don't talk about it now, then it's just going to be swept under the rug.
Dude, when I tell you I scared the shit out of Hannah, because I'm literally sitting in the living room and I see the notification, Ben Affleck returning as Batman in the Flash, and I just went, holy shit, like I screamed it. And she thought like someone died. She comes out, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm about to cry, Ben Affleck's coming back. Oh my God. Like, okay, anyone who's been watching us for any number of time knows how much we love Ben Affleck as Batman. He's my all-time favorite live-action iteration of the character. And just, this is something we never thought would happen. There have been a bunch of rumors that like, oh, he's getting an HBO Max thing and this and that. And that still seems very odd and possibly not happening. But the major trades are now officially confirming that he is returning to be in this Flash movie. Now, the role is said to be an emotionally important one, but not necessarily, that doesn't mean he's going to be in it for a long time. So we don't know how long he's going to be in the role. But we do know that he was offered a script around sometime last week and agreed this week that he was going to take the part. Holy shit.
And Dalton, why is this such a big deal? Please tell everyone who is not informed why this is just groundbreaking news.
I'll tell you, Skylar. So basically, way back, 2015, when he was cast, there was some initial backlash, but then Batman v Superman came out, and even the people who disliked that movie all universally agreed, like, holy shit, Ben Affleck was good. And he went on to be in Justice League, and then there was the drama with Justice League, and in Ben Affleck's personal life, he was suffering from alcoholism, he was going through a divorce, he had a rough couple of years, especially during the production of Justice League. And like, if you want to know how bad it was, just watch him try to promote Justice League, like go back to all the other like press junket videos, and he just looks like he doesn't want to
be just there. So out of it.
He's tired, and but I can't blame the guy, just all the shit.
Well, even in Justice League, like with all the reshoots, like you can tell, like when you sit down and you really look at Justice League, you can really tell when he's in shape and when he's out of shape, just because like he has so much going on in his life at that time, and you can like really tell in his performance and how he physically looks.
Yes, and not only was he scheduled, he also made a brief appearance in Suicide Squad, I should point out, but not only did he, was in Justice League, he was scheduled to do more. He was going to write and direct his own Batman movie, possibly even more Batman movies, which was the most exciting thing because he's an amazing director. And he literally wrote several drafts of a script that suddenly Warner Brothers, or some people believe it was Jeff Johns, the producer, was like, no, we don't want that Batman movie. And he had Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke. It was going to be fucking Batman versus Deathstroke. It was going to be so awesome.
What a badass movie.
God, it would have been so great. And then he left the role and, had come out in subsequent interviews saying, like, I was at such a low point in my life that friends were telling me, like, dude, if you put yourself through the hell that you went through on those Justice League reshoots, you're going to drink yourself to death. So he stepped away from it and, got a lot healthier, got his life back together. He's in incredible shape now. He seems very happy with Ana de Armas. And which I'll get into the article, the Vanity Fair one, that they mention, I think, that Barbara Muschietti, the producer and sister of Andy Muschietti, the director, says, like, no, he just seems like he's at a much happier place in his life, and that's what kind of made him want to come back and do more. So let's dive right into this article that first was broken by Vanity Fair. And it wasn't just broken, it was interviewed. Like, Andy Muschietti has quotes, like they planned this announcement, which right before DC Fandom, which I'm going to get into in a second as to what I think's going on here. But Vanity Fair broke the news, and it was confirmed by Deadline and several other outlets that he is going to be coming back, and Michael Keaton, which Hollywood Reporter broke a while ago.
The 89 Batman.
This probably won't happen, but if Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton share scenes, but
Just share scenes in general,
Like
or
if they are
like
on
in the
screen
guard?
together. Just don't even get me started on that. Like, God, Jesus.
Do you think they're gonna bust out the old '89 leather cowl for Michael Keaton?
I hope
His
so.
old ass squeezing in there.
I hope so. No, but Andy Muschietti, I'm gonna just read. This is gonna be boring, but I'm gonna read some quotes from the Vanity Fair article. Is
Absolutely,
quoted
go for it.
is he compliments Affleck a lot in his performance. He says his Batman has a dichotomy that is very strong, which is his masculinity because of the way he looks, the imposing figure that he has, and his jawline. Big agree. He's also very vulnerable. He knows how to deliver from the inside out, and that vulnerability. He just needs a story that allows him to bring that contrast and that balance. And he goes on to say, he is a very substantial part of the emotional impact of this movie. The interaction and relationship between Barry and Affleck's Wayne will bring an emotional level that we haven't seen before. It's Barry's movie, it's Barry's story, but their characters are more related than we think. They've both lost their mothers to murder, and that's one of the emotional vessels in the movie, and that's where Affleck's Batman kicks in. I'm glad to be collaborating with someone who's been on both sides of the camera, too. He understands. And then, so that's obviously a lot of interesting information there. But
Hmm.
something that I really want to point out is what Barbara Muschietti had to say when asked about like approaching Affleck or like how did it all come about. And she said that she was initially worried that he might be reluctant to come back because obviously he was a part of the story that they had in mind.
Of course.
And she's quoted saying, there have been some sorts of stories and things he said about having a very hard time playing Batman and it had been difficult for him. And I think it was more about a difficult time in his life. When we approached him, he's now a very different person in a different time in his life, and he was very open to it, which was a bit of a surprise to us because it was a huge question mark while we were approaching him.
Hmm.
So they kind of came to him, and he was like, "Let's do it." And
Absolutely,
it's like,
yeah.
yes,
And I totally agree. Like he looks like a completely different person. Like with all the paparazzi photos that we see, yes, most of the photos I've seen is him and Anna de Armas. But like even little things like that could instantly cheer you up. And he just seems like an overall better person. Like he's in a much better place. And if that's what it takes for him to be Batman, then absolutely. Like I only wish the best for him and really anyone.
yeah,
So I'm really happy to see that he's in a much better place and he's just ready to take on this role.
yeah. And also, I
Because
should,
I know that he was very excited to play Batman in the very beginning. Like he was just over the moon to
mhm,
play Batman.
yeah. And I wanted to point out, every trade also confirms that they still see as Robert Pattinson as like the future of the Batman franchise. But
Mm-hmm.
it's also unconfirmed that this will be Ben Affleck's last appearance. I assume it will be since he kind of came out of retirement of the cowl,
Mm-hmm.
but who knows? And coming off of the Snyder Cut of Justice League, which we're going to get the first trailer for in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows the momentum? Who knows what could happen? Obviously, I'm hoping that he gets to play him more, but that seems a little unrealistic at this point. But
Well, I mean,
you know,
in the DCEU, he is the canon Batman. So
that's
like
true.
whenever they come out and they talk about the Zack Snyder Justice League, if they talk about the Flash, even in the Batman panel, they could talk about like how Robert Pattinson is just kind of like the Batman off to the side, but Ben
Mhm.
Affleck is the canon Batman. And if
Yeah,
that's the
because
case, then he could come back for more iterations of Batman, more appearances and
yeah,
whatnot. So
and
we could see
the
that.
the Matt Reeves Robert Pattinson Batman very much looks like it's going to be like Joker, just kind of being its own
Hmm.
thing, which I think gives a lot of
Yeah.
great creative storytelling there. So I'm glad that Walter Hamada, the head of DC, is allowing things like this to happen. They're just like, make your movie, people. If you want it in universe, great. If not, great. Just make great films. And but
Hmm.
so obviously, dude, I'm over the fucking moon excited about this. But here's what I wanted to bring up before we go.
Okay.
So they organized this story to come out 2 days before DC Fandom. You'd think
Yes.
you'd think that they would save an announcement like this for DC Fandom. So the question I pose to you is, what surprise do they have under their belt that they release this story as a distraction from what they have planned? Because I think that this was a strategy of, let's drop this a couple days early so that no one else is thinking about what else we might have in store. So now, pure speculation here.
Hmm.
Well, do you think they have a bigger surprise up their sleeve? And if you do think that, any speculation as to what it is, just for fun?
So If they had anything bigger than this, I really see the only thing being bigger than this is like, hey, Ben Affleck signed like a 5 movie contract to be Batman, something like that. Whether he gets his own trilogy, whether they dig up his script that he had, because I can't remember who read it, but someone read Ben Affleck's script and was like, holy shit, like this is the best story I've ever read.
It was Jay Olivier. He was the storyboard artist on the movie, and he's directed some
Okay.
DC animated stuff.
That's right, yeah. So if they dig up that script, if that script is back on the back burner somewhere and they bring that up and they're like, Ben Affleck is coming back as Batman, I think that's really the only other surprise that they could have in store. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I don't know if they have anything else in store, but if they were to, that's the only thing that I could see plausible, is if they have some sort of like announcement like, hey, Ben Affleck's here to stay. He's our Batman in this universe. And in the outside universe, it's kind of Robert Pattinson, which I would have zero complaints about.
Yeah.
But what about you? Any speculation on your end? Because I know you have something brewing up.
I'll do you one better.
Okay.
Since it's a convention, all things DC.
Of course.
What if they drop this Batman news early to surprise us on Saturday that they are making Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill? That is a stretch, and again, speculation on no inside information. Just speculating.
It's a big stretch, but that would honestly be the biggest announcement coming out of DC fandom, because that movie came out in 2013 and technically kicked off the DCEU.
Yeah.
So that would shatter everything if they announced that.
Or even if it wasn't Man of Steel 2, just the announcement that like, hey, Henry Cavill is coming back as Superman and he's going to be in, and then they say what like project he's going to be in. Mm-hmm. I think that would be a surprise that they're holding on to. So they released one early to get you not thinking about it.
So how likely do you think it is that they have something bigger in store? Like, do you think it's like highly...
I think it's very likely they have something bigger in store. What it is exactly, I don't know. But I do think that this was a strategic
But you're leaning
play.
towards the Man of Steel.
Not in terms of realistically, but just in terms of I want it so fucking bad, right?
Okay, so that's your speculation then.
Yeah.
If you had to speak more realistically, what would you say realistically looking at it? What would you think would happen out of DC fandom?
I think realistically, one of two things. Either when they do the Black Adam panel, they officially say that Henry Cavill will be in that movie. And the reason why I think Black Adam is the more likely for him to show up is because not only are Henry Cavill and Dwayne Johnson friends, but they're repped by the same manager. So it's like... Oh,
are they?
Yeah, so it's like...
Okay.
That seems pretty likely. Or that the Snyder Cut... Because we're going to find out if it's a movie or a show. Regardless, I think...
right, because there was some talk about that.
But I think that what you might see happen is you'll see the release date change from 2021 to 2020, and that it's only a couple months away. I think that might be something they have up their sleeve. But I think that they got some card tricks coming. But regardless, so fucking stoked about the Ben Affleck news. I'm gonna see my all-time favorite Batman come back. Even dude, if it's for 10 seconds, I won't give a shit. Just 10 that's 10 more seconds I didn't think I would have with him.
The way I could see his role playing, just from the little bit of information that we were just told about that in the article you brought up, it sounds like Barry is going to have this ultimatum. Like, he has the ability to go back and save his parents, and he's going to ask Bruce Wayne, like, what would you do if you had this situation, if you were able to save your parents? And it sounds like that's kind of the role that he's going to have, is Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne is going to give him the ultimatum and give him clear direction on what he should do. Yeah, that sounds pretty likely. So it sounds like we're going to get more of a Bruce Wayne than Batman. But I mean, you never know. I mean, this story literally just broke today, we don't know. But that's just my speculation on his role in the Flash movie. Yeah, same. Thanks so much for taking my last-minute Zoom call. I just really wanted to talk about this before, because the podcast comes out tomorrow and people are going to be like, why aren't they talking about the Affleck news? Because we recorded it a few days ago. So this is that emergency video, and we're going to talk about this even more next week whenever we do another episode. Absolutely, for sure. Because by that point, DC fandom would have happened, and we would have probably more news. At the very least, no news about Ben Affleck, but at the very least, we will have news about DC fandom.
Exactly. But thank you so much for joining again. And
Of course.
thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.